Looks like Brat season just isn't this year. Looks like it goes on. What year was that? 2000.
What is Brat? What is that?
It's like it's stupid. Like
it's some stupid brain rot thing. Right?
It's yes, but to people whose brains are rotted, it's like a thing. It's like a vibe thing. Like it's Brat.
Cool, dude.
Yeah, she's Brat, dude. You know what's Brat?
Moves too fast.
Freaking butt cheeks, dude. You can put them directly in your face.
Hello, and welcome to Grass Touchers, the show where the three of us pals talk about video games and how we don't get to play them nearly enough, except maybe over Labor Day weekend, which I'm sure we'll talk about. I am Jake.
I'm Jared.
-2 inches.
Oh, no.
And I'm Greg.
Excellent. You know, I don't think that's the first time I've heard the word deg, but I don't know. Anyway. Let's get right into it. Jared, tell me, what have you been playing lately, and how was your Labor Day weekend?
My Labor Day weekend was good. I just did the normal stuff, normal patriotic stuff. Burned some crosses in some yards and set up some firework. No, my Labor Day weekend was really good. I spent it kind of resting because the past couple weeks have been a stomach bug bonanza in the Lewis household, and I got it.
Bonanza.
It was a bonanza, dude. I was really bummed too because it set in right after I had eaten at my favorite Mexican spot here in town.
No.
And I was like, no way they've done this to me. And then I thought that for a few days. I thought it was food poisoning, and it was really bad. And then my wife got it, and it was like, okay, Molinitos, they are vindicated.
Because she did not eat there.
Because she didn't eat there. Yeah.
Okay. I would have assumed you both had Molinitos. Okay.
Right, and I had dinner with my dad and my uncle, and they were fine after it. So that's what that is. And
sometimes it'd be like that.
It'd be like that. Outside of that, I've been playing Tarkov and enduring the AI on that game, but enjoying everything around the AI. I played a little bit of Dota, took a lot of L's on a bit of a slump.
Oh, no. Yeah. Is the streak kind of reversing a little bit?
Yeah, I bad teammates. I'm going to say bad teammates because I always bring a consistent performance, I think, and it just the people I'm playing with have not been panning out. But then some Overwatch with my siblings on Xbox, which...
Overwatch? How about that? What's that like right now?
It's one of those games where if you're very, very into it, I think the hardcore audience could tell you all the things that are, Torbjorn's gun is, and the turret does too much damage, and it's like, I don't really know the meta super well, right. But I can say that I've been having a decent time. It's fun to get together and just enjoy playing something with my siblings. We don't get to do it very often.
Sibling time for sure, dude.
And it is a fun time. It's a solid experience to me.
Right.
I can rely on like what it's probably going to be. We might get stomped. We might have a bad teammate. Depending on who's playing with us, and they might drag us down. Whatever. But outside of that, nothing much, man.
A good little mix.
Yeah, it's a good mix. And the last thing I probably did was I started reading the X-Men comics. I've never read them from the beginning, so I got like a promotion for the Marvel Unlimited thing, and wow, man, I just really put my shoulder to the plow to get through the early era, the pre-Chris Claremont era, and it was brutal, dude. It was brutal.
If you say so. I know nothing. I'm eager to hear more.
It's just unreadable, and I'm sure that I would catch a lot of hate from maybe some like old heads that like love it. It's just like it's the
go ahead, comic book nerd, sound off in the comments. Let's hear.
Yeah.
All one of you,
all one of you. I dare you. get your guns out. You're gonna need them. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I will body you in real life. No, it's just really hammy and pointless and it's what all the stereotypes are based on. So it's like for the time, I'm sure it was like fun for children, but now in the Claremont era, which is I believe kind of like early 70s, and it's good. The writing's good. Like it really makes a big difference. Also, you don't have Wolverine, you don't have Colossus, you don't have Storm before this point either, and those are some really great characters that I think are, well known in the franchise. But I'm enjoying that. It's cool. So it's a good time. Greg,
nice, dude.
Douglas?
Yeah, Labor Day weekend was great. I had a away football game on Friday, which was quite far, 2.5 hours each way for work.
Brutal.
So got home at 1:30 or 2 in the morning. Friday, technically Saturday morning. Slept in Saturday and just chilled. Saturday and Sunday it was great. Chilled with my wife and my son, and he's 3 months old yesterday, which is fantastic.
I saw the pics on the socials.
Yeah, man, he's so stinking cute and just changing every day, which is cool. And I pulled the trigger and downloaded got Elden Ring for my PS5, and so I'm doing a complete magic playthrough, like sorcery playthrough of Elden Ring. I'm not gonna 100% at this time or whatever. That was a lot, but I'm playing the game using strictly a magic based character.
Cool.
And not following any guides other than the occasional hey, what stat should I be leveling? As I level up, what should I be putting into my stats?
Well, and you've probably got a certain amount of head knowledge of the game that you don't need a guide. You know where certain things are, whether you might be useful or whatever.
Yeah, I do. But I've never played a magic build in the game, and so
yeah, I guess that maybe if you did hear something about a magic build, you probably ignored it because you weren't doing that before.
Yeah, and so a good example is I got a spell yesterday that I was like, this spell does a lot of damage, and then I went on YouTube and was reading about it, and everyone's like, don't use that spell, just use this other spell, rapid fire, and it's way better than that spell. It's that's
the numbers game.
That's the meta, right? The meta, the magic meta is to do something else, right? And so that's interesting. But yeah, other than that, just enjoying being dad. It's pretty great, guys, and works obviously a lot. But I was thinking about it earlier today. I was like, I get to record tonight and do something not work related at all. Hang out with the boys.
The boys.
And
that's right.
NFL season starts tomorrow, which is exciting.
Yeah, dude. How about that? It snuck up on me a little bit. I had a fantasy football draft party the other day, and I was like, oh shoot, NFL time. Woo, let's get ready.
It is. It's here. The long winter is over of the summer. And,
that's right.
Man, I tell you what, sports in the summer can be rough because you've got golf. So if you're not interested in golf, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You've got baseball, and that's it.
Right. And
so,
every 4 years you get some Olympics if you care about that.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, just being dad, which is great. What about you, Jake?
Man, Labor Day is so good. I like that we had a little time off. My wife and I had some quality family time, and we enjoyed having a little bit of downtime. We did have the fantasy football draft party this past Friday at my place. I filled my smoker with chicken wings, and I filled my grill with chicken legs.
And he filled his trousers shortly thereafter.
Dude. Yes. We also did this thing where I pulled out a bunch of my hot sauces because I don't know if I'm still a hot sauce guy, but I was at one time. And the thing about hot sauce is you're lucky to finish one in multiple months, right? Because if you have multiple different kind of hot sauces, you might prefer certain things on certain things. I have a spicy stir fry sauce that I'm not going to put on, my tacos. And so I had told the fellas, I was like, hey, here's, 5 or 6 sauces that you can put on the wings. Obviously, you can eat them naked because they're delicious. Smoked wings, salt, pepper, garlic kind of thing. But, if you want to try these, here you go. And the legs I did with like a Nashville hot kind of Cajun like thing going on. So then people started trying the sauces, and I put everything out from just like Frank's Buffalo to like a Parmesan garlic, something super mild.
You put the bomb out there.
Listen, I'm getting to it. We actually did get the bomb out. I have this. There's a peach Carolina Reaper sauce that's really good that you can get from like a Harris Teeter. It's very, very sweet at the front because it's like a syrupy, just sugary, yummy peach taste. But then the heat turns up, and the back half of a bite of that is like freaking hot, dude. And I have a black garlic. I think that's Carolina Reaper as well, black garlic Reaper. And then I have one that has like some weird umami flavors in it, like mushrooms and soy sauce and miso paste and habanero. Anyway, so I pulled out all these weird sauces, and people were trying them, and they're like, dude, this is great. Thank you for getting this out. And I was like, I have like more. If you guys want to look in the pantry, I've got more hot sauce if you guys want to try some even wackier stuff. I even have some of the ones from Hot Ones from the show. And my buddy was like, oh, don't you have the bomb Beyond Insanity? And I said, yes, I do. You're going to make me get it out, aren't you?
It's just awful.
He was like, dude, we should after the draft, we should all try some of the hottest ones you got. And I was like, dude, okay. But like, watch out, okay? Because this is not fooling around. You think you're tough until you have the bomb, and you are not tough after that. And so after we did the draft, after everybody had eaten everything, we were actually all out of chicken wings and stuff. I made just the right amount. Everybody was pretty full, and I had run out of chicken. And so I pulled out some crackers, and I pulled out 4 of the sauces that I didn't have out yet. And on a scale of 1 to 10, these sauces were like 5, 7, 9, and 11 because the bomb is horrible. And I put a little bit on crackers, and 5 of us, grabbed a cracker and were like, oh yeah, it's pretty hot. Oh yeah, it's good flavor though, good flavor. And then the second one was like, ooh, that one's really hot. Not as much going on there. And then the third one was like, all right, come on, really? Why do you even have this? I was like, just wait. And so we got to the bomb, and we all went, cheers. And my buddy was taking a video, and you take a bite. And I've had it before, you guys. I use that sauce in a way you're not supposed to use that sauce. It says on the bottle.
Excuse me?
Excuse me? Put it on your wiener?
What the heck, dude?
You heard what I said. It says on the bottle, do not dip things in this. Do not use this like a barbecue sauce. This is not a sauce. This is like an additive. This is chemicals. This is bad for you. Like,
put a drop.
Put a drop in your chili, don't. And the first time I used that, I did not read the label. I put a dozen chicken wings in a bag and emptied out half the bottle into the bag and shook the bag around, and I gave it out to my friends for our hot wings challenge that we had a few years ago. Big mistake. There was people throwing up in the backyard. It was very bad.
Oh my gosh, bro.
So we put a little bit on a cracker, and we all tried it, and people are just wheezing and like, oh, it tastes like Bigfoot's. It was not good. It's like battery acid. Like, it doesn't taste good. It has a horrible flavor, and it's way too hot because it uses extract. But anyway, my fantasy team is looking decent, and it was a fun night. That was Friday.
Do you have Jamar Chase?
I don't think so. Let me tell you. In fact, yeah, fantasy football moment, because this will be a recurring thing on the podcast, I'm sure. Let's go over my fantasy team. My report card from ESPN was a D. It's not an amazing team.
You playing too, Jared?
I'm not playing fantasy yet. I might join like a rando league just to see if I haven't played in honestly like 8 years, bro.
My fantasy team is a point of pride and has been for several years now. This year, I went with Seahawk Tua.
Oh, gosh.
And I have Tua Tagovailoa as my quarterback. I have Raheem Mostert, Isaiah Pacheco, DJ Metcalf, Nico Collins. I got Arizona's tight end, Trey McBride. I have Chris Godwin in my flex spot right now. And then I grabbed the Dolphins and the Seahawks defense, and I got Dicker the kicker. Old Cameron Dicker is my kicker this year. And then I've got a bench with some other guys. Trevor Lawrence, backup quarterback. I did not have, like, killer picks, you guys. That thing happened where, like, we didn't agree on what positions you have to pick per pick. So people just started grabbing, obviously running backs first because it's a PPR league. And then after that, it was like, we have these bozos in our league. Sorry if any of y'all are listening. Love you very much. That were like, I'm going to grab a defense. I'm like, oh, top defense is gone. Or, oh, I'm going to go ahead and get a quarterback. And I'm like, all right, I guess quarterbacks are gone. Because my draft position was like right in the middle. And the snake thing makes it so that there's like a long wait between my picks. And I was like, whatever.
Is Trevor Lawrence was he not rated very high? Was he not a high pick?
I mean, he wasn't a horrible pick. I don't remember when I picked him.
Just curious.
He's got talent or whatever. I couldn't tell you what like draft position or whatever he was given by ESPN.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done it.
Last year he did like fine. Nothing crazy. But,
you guys ready for Deg's lineup?
Let's hear
Can't
Deg's
wait,
lineup.
dude.
Yeah, let's go for it.
My team name, as usual, is Namkooten.
That's right.
And my starting quarterback is Josh Allen. My two running backs are Kyron Williams and Joe Mixon. Got lucky there. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase and Chris Olave. I got lucky with Jamar Chase because he was questionable leading into the season, and they announced today that he practiced, so I am going to play in week 1.
Oh, nice, dude.
And then tight end, San Francisco, tight end George Kittle.
Yeah, Kittle.
Had a good season last year. DK Metcalf at the flex, Seattle wide receiver. And then Browns defense, Evan McPherson's kicker. And then pretty good bench, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Brian Robinson Jr., Tyjae Spears, DeAndre Hopkins. So pretty good bench. And so I do not have a backup quarterback, so I need to pick one of them fellas up.
Right.
But it's
I wasn't sure if I was even going to get a backup QB because I wasn't sure what would be left. And like I said, everybody was picking in like a weird order as far as positions. So I was like, let me go ahead and get one because I don't have but so many choices, So very cool. Yeah, those of you in the audience that don't care about football, I apologize, but that is a thing that we will occasionally bring up on the podcast. So get over it, Snowflake.
Get over it, nerds.
Oh, man. But yeah, the rest of my Labor Day weekend was also good. Played plenty of video games. Like I said, hanging out with the family, cooking up some good grub, and had my brother over, grilled up some burgers and dogs, and our kids were playing together. It was a good time. So getting into the video games, it's Tarkov, people. I wish I could tell you different, but it's freaking Tarkov time around here. I wanted to bring up two specific things. Number one, scav runs I have recently returned to because when I die and make a little space in my inventory, I went and did a scav run on Factory, and I keep having wild success. I don't know if it's because I've done so many car extracts, so my fence rep has gone up. I think your fence rep like influences what you get on your scav, like your scav karma.
Right.
And so I was getting like, FAL battle rifles, and I was getting Mosins, and I mean Mosin's not incredible, but I was getting some like decent ammo. I've had a labs key card in my pocket when I spawned in as a scav. And on Factory, there was a point where with the full auto, FAL battle rifle, you're shooting 7.62 by 51, great big old bullets, and you don't have any scope or anything, but my gun was in decent shape with some BCP FMJ rounds, and I got pushed by some PMCs immediately, but I just had the battle rifle ready to go. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm really enjoying the Factory rework in Tarkov PvE. And then the second thing I want to bring up is something we don't get to yet take advantage of yet, Jared. There is, in the PvP environment, a new thing. It's a quest from Fence where it's something called a marathon mode. Have you seen about this?
I have seen about this, and it sounds cool, but in this game of surprises, I'll say, it sounds extremely frustrating to have to do.
I agree. So the premise in Tarkov generally is you pick a map, you go in with some gear from your stash, you try to kill some guys, do some quests, and survive. Go to an extract across the map and get out of there. Well, Marathon brings to life what I think is final sort of vision of the game, which is you have to go to multiple maps over one giant raid. You have to try to survive the first map, and there's a special extract that takes you to another map, and they're all connected because you can see some of the common features. Like you can see parts of the Factory from Woods, and you can see Streets of Tarkov from Ground Zero or whatever. And so there's there's a really interesting kind of lore thing there where you're actually eventually, they say you might actually escape from Tarkov one day because the map Terminal is going to be finished one day. And when you go to Terminal, you like leave. You just leave the place, the Tarkov. I don't know if you get on a plane or what you do, but eventually this is like the long form version of the game. You go to every single map, you try to survive every single one and make it to the Terminal and get out. I watched a video today of Pestily, who absolutely no-lifes that game. He's like a Escape from Tarkov streamer. He did his hardcore series, where he adds additional rules on himself to make the game even harder, where he spawns in with nothing. No gun, no knife, no anything. He buys a standard account for this playthrough called Hardcore. He sells everything in the stash right from the jump, or maybe even just deletes it. Maybe he doesn't even sell it. I think he deletes it so that he starts from actual zero, and he goes into a raid and tries to find a gun on the ground or do something. And he decided, now that this marathon objective is in the game, because you can start at level 1, you can start whenever you want. You don't have to like unlock it. What if the first thing I do is marathon with no gear? Because if I survive, I get so much experience, like 125,000 XP or something. This is a stupid amount of XP at the end. And you get a sick weapons case, which holds just a ton of weapon stuff. He freaking did it, you guys.
Wow.
In the course of an hour and a half long video, he spawned into the first map absolutely naked and afraid and scrounged to get like shotguns, and like he would wait for other players to walk by and kill a scav, and then he would go grab the gun off of the scav or whatever. And he did it. So he has finished his first episode of his raid series. He got so much XP, he's like level 16 just off the first completion of that. And he's got some gear that he, survived with, like an MPX that he got off of a guy, and some other stuff. Really incredible. And it was so heart pounding, that game, and putting yourself in the position of trying to finish like all the maps, bang, 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 bang in a row like that. It's nuts. You don't have to do labs. You can do labs, but you don't have to. Really nuts. Really cool game.
That is
and
nuts.
Jared and I have had some good times, and Greg has played with us a little bit, much to his credit, jumping in the Tarkov just a little bit and living it up, enjoying the atmosphere, laying in the grass, afraid for your life, and getting kills. I have to say, Greg got some PMC kills last time we played, so that was very cool.
Tarkov was fun, which is not a phrase we have said until recently.
I know,
and it was legitimately fun.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of frustrating things in that game. Like when the AI shoots you in the mouth just randomly and you're like, oh, okay, I'm dead. Cool. Didn't see that coming. Nice. Or when a boss sneaks up on you, or, there's all these weird things that happen. But it's better than PvP. Because we would have, over a third of the times we would have died by now, it would have been from cheaters, So at least you don't have that problem.
Jared had kind of a good take, or an interesting take, because, he's played this game obviously a lot more than I have. But talking about what made the PvP so bad in Tarkov, right? Yeah. And I can't remember what you said, Jared, about like why the players are allowed to cheat in PvP. Basically, like it's almost like the developers like don't really care.
Right. They you looking at their bottom line, it like makes sense for them to ban cheaters when it is most convenient for them, rather than just like implementing ways to eradicate cheaters and never let them back in. It makes total sense to let them to continue cheating, ban them at certain times so that they will just repurchase accounts. It just makes sense. It makes business sense.
A couple weeks before the wipe or whatever.
Yeah. It's pretty messed up. So yeah, we should.
Not to mention you have all these people buying different like editions of the game, which is wild to me. If you play PvP, that game is literally pay to win because you start with this massive advantage if you buy the, No Life Mom's Basement edition or whatever.
Yeah. Would you guys wear a diaper if it was socially acceptable? Do you think?
Absolutely, 100%.
Wow.
Imagine how much more video games we could
think
play.
about it.
Yeah. No.
Imagine how many times Greg wouldn't have to get up and interrupt our play session.
This is true, dude.
Hey, that's true.
You and your son could bond.
That's true. See, Daddy does it too. It's
Daddy
okay.
does it too. And he just never has to grow out of it. You never have to potty train. You're just like, welcome to the luxurious lifestyle, son. Just go whenever you want.
I've thought for a long time that like I'd be a multi-millionaire if I ever invented a painless catheter to where you could like go to the bathroom and like I don't know. Think about how many times, at least me, you guys might be thinking, yeah, Greg, that sounds like it's just a you problem. But like, how many times I've been in like a social situation? Gosh, being a teacher, for example, where you got to go to the bathroom so badly, but you just can't. You know, can you imagine just being able just to go whenever and you don't spill it on yourself? Or, anyways, a man can dream.
Dude, I mean, that's why I asked.
Man, you're not wrong.
That's why I asked. Like, sitting, like, you and your son, it's 20 years from now. Okay? You're on the couch. You got your feet up on the recliner. Your son is next to you on a chair. And you're just sitting there and you're, like, shooting the breeze. You're like, I know, Tom Brady III, he doesn't quite have it like his great grandfather. and then you're talking to him and you don't really get a response right away, so you kind of look over and he's just kind of like squinting and you're like, you taking a dump? He's like, yeah, sorry.
Oh,
What
yeah.
did you say? What did you say? Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I'm finished. What's up? What was that?
It's funny because my son does that to me right now. So
Nice. It's cool, dude.
That's
It's
exactly
just the
what it would
grown-up
be like.
version. It's like Rugrats all grown up. That's kind of what I was hoping. I was pretty disappointed with that as a kid because I was hoping that Rugrats all grown up was them just doing the same. Just Tommy's just wearing a diaper. He's got no pants on or anything. He's like 14. His friends are like, Tommy, you're a loser. Shut up, dude.
You know what they need to do in the future? Since the entertainment industry is madly in love with losing money on remakes constantly.
Yeah.
There's an idea here where we could take this to its logical conclusion, and you should do like with every new generation, follow the Rugrats through life. So eventually you have like Rugrats Get Off My Lawn.
Yes, dude.
They're like 5 years from retirement, like boomer kind of thing going on. And they're like, kids these days, and they're freaking, and they've got Depends on, and they're like, listen, I can't believe. Did you see?
You grow with them. You grow with them. That sounds like a Mad TV sketch, to be honest with you.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well.
And then you can have Rugrats like nursing home edition.
Oh, yeah.
It just sort of reverts back to the beginning, except they're all old.
Yes, dude. They go to war. They should do that. The Rugrats go to war. They get drafted.
Rugrats Global War on Terror edition.
Yeah, dude.
They're
Yeah.
24 years old and grappling with the reality of taking another human life.
Yeah. Chucky gets his blown off by an IED. and yeah. Crazy, dude.
Oh my god.
But I
speaking of
asked
Tarkov,
Speaking of Tarkov, no, I mentioned to Jake. Jake and I were playing some Tarkov last night, and I had a moment where I thought, being globally minded, we live in a globalist culture now. Really do. It's not something that we think about, but it's true and it's unique of our culture because 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago plus, it was like the people you knew were the people that lived in your little tiny town, and and I was thinking,
might as well have been the only people that existed at all.
Honestly, yeah.
And
I was thinking it's easy for me to see foreign people from other countries as people and to have really I have no prejudices or racist, like, I have no superiority complex over those people. They're people, but the one thing that like I hit a wall with is like when I hear the music that they have like in the Middle East that's like like when I hear that, then there's a wall up and I'm like, all right, what's going on here? What this is not good music. Like, did they like turn that on and it's like Van Halen to them? Like here in the U.S., we're like at a barbecue and Eruption comes on or whatever that stupid song is, and everyone's just like, yeah, all right now. But over there they're at like a lamb barbecue or whatever, and like comes on, and it's like, do they rock out to that? And this has brought me to, Jake did say, he's like, I know a bunch of music majors that'll sit here and tell you why, and it made me think, wow, that's incredible that anybody would try and justify that to me, because there's zero chance that I will ever listen to that and be like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
And to bring that back to the our podcast, as far as video games go, are there any genres or any games that have become big enough to define their own genres that you guys are just like, you know what? I think never. I don't care how big it gets. I don't care how many people I know that want to play it and want to play it with me. I'll just never get it. It looks stupid, or it sounds bad to me. What do we think? And if you guys need to take it back to the music thing at all, you can talk about that.
I'll give you just a brief correction. What I believe I said last night more specifically was, I know of a bunch of very unemployed
so that is what you said. That's what you said.
I know some racked with debt, unemployed people who would be happy to tell you what their PhD in musicology taught them about the values of non-Western music in the Middle East or whatever. Yeah, dude, there's a world out there where we say the world is getting smaller because of our ability to communicate all over the globe. But if anything, I think the opposite is true, where the world feels bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's parts of it that I'll just never touch, and it's fine because the human brain was never meant to touch every corner of the world. And there's other cultures that are just like, not for you because you grew up in this one, and so your norms are centered around all those things, and like that's not, there's no reason that you don't have to interact with or appreciate or care about the musical history of Bangladesh. Like, that's not a thing that you have to enjoy by any means. Greg, what would you add to this conversation, especially about video games?
Well, at risk of losing my job, I think that people from the Middle East or whatever other corner of the world you want to talk about, right? Like, I think many people in other cultures probably look at aspects of our music or aspects of our culture or our social structures and think similarly, like, that's wacky. Like, I could never be into that. And that just because we're in the Western Hemisphere does not make us more racist for thinking about them as they do about us, probably.
Right. Very true.
However, I also believe that, music in particular serves different purposes depending on what culture you're a part of, right? So,
right.
And there are cultures where music is actually not really a social thing the way it is here.
Right.
It is more of a utilitarian purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that. I think in terms of video games, one that comes to mind, really, it's not even a genre. It's actually a specific video game that, in no way seems like it would ever be fun to me unless it were the only option I had and I were trapped and I could only play it with my very best friends, and that's Among Us. Something about...
Oh, yeah.
something
Never
about...
Never jump on that one myself.
Yeah, I played Among Us once, and I got caught. All right, that's the entire game. It's the most interesting part of the game after you experience it once. To me, I was like, okay, fine. Among Us is a good example. I think, and we've done topics like this before, but I think in terms of the way that Jared's putting it, of not being able to just be to imagine myself enjoying it at any level. I would say most sports games, because they're so similar nowadays, and they're such money grubbing, iterative versions of themselves that
Sure.
Right.
it like really, guys, Madden has not really changed since like Madden '08. Like it really has not.
Right.
Sure.
And that's like graphics and gameplay. It's like not that much better, you know?
Right. No, that's true.
And honestly, if I want to play sports, like I will go play basketball with a friend or go play disc golf. Like when I play video games, I want to do something I can't do in the real world.
Right.
Not that I can be, Rayshawn Keith or whatever in the Baltimore Ravens in the real world, but
Rayshawn Keith, all-star long snapper for the Baltimore Ravens. I picked him up in fantasy, of course.
But I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
I definitely so Among Us was big as one, and just sports games in general. Like it's not
a good pick.
It's not. They're just not. I like to be fascinated by games. Like when I play a video game, I'm like, oh man, like I'm the kind of person that when I really get into a game, I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know about you guys, but like I literally, like I could not stop. Seriously, I could not stop thinking about Elden Ring for 6 months of my life. Like,
I know.
at work, in the shower, driving to work, like I was thinking about that game. And sports games don't do it for me, and Among Us certainly didn't.
Dude, is that a net positive or is that a net negative? And think about that, because I think the obvious answer is that's a net negative. People are like, "Oh, this is bad because like I'm thinking about it all the time." But like, is it replacing something more destructive in your life? I brought this up last night at the gym with my brother-in-law and my cousin. I said. There's a sentiment out there that is people are like, I don't trust anybody who doesn't drink, and it's like that sounds stupid, but people do say that because they're like I don't trust somebody that doesn't drink because I have to drink because that's how I get through like life, because life can be really tough, and it can be tougher. It can be tougher if you're living in land. You know what I'm saying? But even here in the States, in the land of the free, it can be tough. And I looked at Joe and I said, "You want to know how somebody if somebody doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do any drugs, they're in great shape, and their financials are in great order, you know for sure they're into some freaked up stuff, dude. They're doing some weird stuff." Because there's no way.
Jared just described himself, by the way.
No, I did not, bro.
He doesn't smoke. And
well, they're and it's like video games can be they can be on your mind all day long and like be distracting, and they can waste your time. But like, what is that keeping you from who's that keeping you from murdering at work tomorrow? You know what I mean? So it's like, it could be a good thing.
I feel similarly about video games. We've crossed over into almost a whole nother discussion, but I want to amen that because I super agree. I think I picture my kids, right? 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Pooping in their diapers on the couch next to you.
Pooping in their diapers on the couch right next to me, watching the game.
16th game of the season.
Somehow they lost 20 games, or not even that many games in the season, and we can't make sense of it. And I'm thinking, what does my kid like do to relax? I hope it's not drink a case of beer. I hope it's, read his Bible and go to Bible study and, put his chastity belt back on. You know what I mean? But I'm sure it won't be. And so I'm thinking, all right.
Back on? Why'd he take it off? Is he showering?
Because of the diaper.
Oh, changing his diaper.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, get in here, take your chastity belt off. I got to change your diaper.
No, but I think if I'm picturing a life for my kids, I hope that they have some sort of non-destructive, potentially edifying, depending on what kind of games we're talking about here, hobby that is engaging, keeping them out of trouble, and perhaps giving a social outlet as well. I think we all know it depends on the game. It depends on the people you're playing it with, whether any of those qualifications are met. But I absolutely agree that video games can be a non-destructive sort of quality thing. There's also destructive ways to engage in video games. I think I've told a story before about a guy I knew in high school whose entire family was addicted to World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And I do not use the word addicted lightly. They absolutely were. There were times where they refused to pick him up from school because they were in the middle of a raid, and he begged friends and teachers for a ride home. And it's just not okay. Like, that sucks. That
when you say
really
that, all I
sucks.
can think of is that episode of the World of Warcraft episode of South Park.
Oh, that was his life. No joke.
Cartman's
No
like,
joke.
"Mom," and his mom comes downstairs, and he she's like, "Here you go, baby," and she holds out a bucket, and he into the bucket, and she's
Yes,
like,
dude.
"She's like, that's a good Cartman, good boy," and she like, "That's
Yes, dude. So to the original question, I have a couple genres that I think either they are destructive and so they're a negative example of what we were just talking about, or I absolutely do not vibe with them, and that's why I'm not ever going to play them. Thing number one is ridiculously immersive MMOs, and I suppose immersive isn't even the right word, but like the MMOs that like
Deep progression.
so much progression, you'll never beat it. It's got this huge sort of mountain of people like following right behind it, chomping at the bit to get the new patch, or microtransactions coming out the butt. Like, there's so many things that keep people locked into this game, and that's the business model, is a subscription or microtransactions. Mm-hmm. Those kind of games, I think I stay away from for obvious reasons, right? I think that gets toxic not only to your real life, but like to your wallet. And it's already hard enough to find the games that I like. I certainly don't want to find a game I like and then realize it's going to cost me more and more and more money. I haven't played Star Citizen in months for that reason. Like, I'm gonna cool my jets, because if Star Citizen was anywhere near the kind of game that they're promising it to be, I'd have a big problem on my hands. Because that's going to be this sort of MMO that's got all this stuff to it. I have a text message here from somebody, and this is another reason that I don't really care for MMOs. There's a real wall of text here. I'm going to show it to you. I know you can't really see it, but that's my text to him.
Wow.
I asked a question, and then it was
No,
paragraph, YouTube link, paragraph,
no.
paragraph.
It just keeps going.
And then I was like, cool, thanks for the info. This person was trying to tell me about the difference between WoW and Final Fantasy 14.
Oh.
And
It wasn't Tyler, was it?
no. This person said...
Sorry, we rag on Tyler.
This person said, you really have to play like 40 plus hours to get into it. But once you get past that, it's great.
Saying that about WoW or FF14?
About Final Fantasy 14. And I was like, 40 hours to get to the good part, dog?
Yeah.
Are you joking?
Mm-hmm.
That's like onboarding for a job your first week.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's nuts.
And I told him, I said, I mean, that's not for me, dog, but thanks for the info, And this is somebody who plays MMOs like a lot, and that's cool and all. Sure. If that's your game of choice, the thing about it is, I think it kind of locks you into that game because of the nature of the game, right? The content never stops,
right?
And there's all these other games out there that you could be trying out. I've occasionally dabbled in like weird genres that I didn't think I would like, and then you have a pleasant surprise. One of my favorite games that fits that bill is FTL, and its kind of cousin game, Into the Breach. Those games are wacky fun. They're procedural and random and roguelike and whatever, and like there's some depth there. I think the main thing I realize I need in a game is like thoughtfulness, that you need to make some decisions, and then those decisions have consequences. And I don't mean in a sort of Mass Effect, like good guy, bad guy way.
Right, no.
Although Mass Effect rules, so that's a separate discussion.
Yeah.
I want to know that there's a path before me, and I need to choose lots of different kind of ways to get to an end goal, and then maybe I optimize over time, or maybe I try something else, or
right.
That's Tarkov for me, right? Is like, yeah, the base game is shoot bad guys in the face, get some loot, and get out, but there's a million micro decisions you make each raid, and I think that's what's engaging. Here's my one game that I'll never play. You ready?
Okay.
Do you guys remember Farmville?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. The Facebook.
Those
craze.
kind of games, dude. The little cozy games where you just like make something, and then you move on and you make it bigger, and then you move on and you make the numbers get big. I can't stand just like nonsense, especially on mobile devices. This is a really common thing, right? like, oh, I'm building a thing and it's bigger now, and now I got to build this thing over here. I got to build. It's like the game loop from No Man's Sky, where like, go collect 5 of these. All right, now you can build this thing that makes getting those easier. Right. Now use the thing that outputs and go get 10 of these.
Sure.
And it took you 5% less time than it took you to get 5 of the other thing, because you're progressing, you know. And it's like that base building, resource gathering mechanic.
You hate that.
And just kind of cozy games, like in general, like Animal Crossing, dude. Eat my.
Dang.
Like,
Crossing.
I'm not playing.
Eat my Crossing.
Whoa! I'm not playing Animal Crossing ever. I know that there's some games in that genre that some people speak highly of, like Stardew Valley. That's a farm game. I'm not playing Farmville. I'm not doing it. Like, I see there's nothing about that scratches an itch of mine, and I need something more. And it's not just where I'm at now in life. Like, I've always felt that way about those games. I remember watching my college roommate freshman year play Farmville on his laptop in the middle of class, which is why he dropped out.
Nice.
How you doing, Kyle? If you're listening to this one day, there's a game loop there that's just like blow my brains out bad. I can't ever do a cozy game where you're just like farming. Ugh.
That's so crazy. Yeah, because I like those. I gravitate towards that genre a little bit. I like the almost like factory mindset that's like, build this, collect these, now build this, because this is going to help you get those, like you're saying, like that idea of like growth and scaling. You know what I mean? I really do enjoy that.
The closest I'll ever get to that is Civilization, which I think we all know I've spoken about here in the past like month or two. So in Civilization, the reason that scaling and sort of like productivity matters at all is because of like, it enables you to do the actual game loop, which is to use diplomacy or conquer somebody or expand over here and, capture this city or, research this technology and launch a rocket to the moon. And like, it enables other stuff. So it's like a component. If you can't understand productivity and scaling and how to keep an economy going, then you're not going to be very good at Civ probably. But I don't know. I probably sound like a hypocrite, but I don't really care. It's fine.
No, that makes total sense, though.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
the cozy thing is what you're saying. Is there's no actual application at the end of the loop that's like a payoff for you. So I get it.
Yes. Thank you. That's right. So, yeah, that's the main thing, dude.
Yeah, I think for me, just to be brief, I think the genre that I like I've just never really understood it. It's like card games. There's like that Bellatro game on Steam. And people are like raving about it.
I didn't touch that one because I've heard it rules and that it's hyper addicting and that it's really interesting. But every time I hear people talk about it, I just can't imagine having fun. But they say, I said that too. And then I tried it. And now it's the only thing I play.
Yeah.
And it's like, see, I don't need that.
Right.
If it is what you say it is, I still don't want it because I got stuff to do.
Right. Yeah. My brother used to play TCG games. He used to play like Magic the Gathering on the Xbox. And I think it was cool, like, watch him play. Like, it wasn't, like, horrible, but, like, I just knew it was just never something that I ever even tried. Yep. And that's pretty rare, because I think I've tried pretty much every type of video game except, and I'm not joking, except the games on Steam. It's probably the only genre that I've never actually even tried before. So.
That's right, folks. We're bringing it back. Prison
baby,
on the review table.
And Tyler is almost done with his 100% playthrough. Guys, we've got a GoFundMe started for him. He has a life. He has a wife.
Right.
He has a family. He's got a job to do. But we're trying to put together a certain amount of money so that he can take some time off and really just focus in on that 100%.
Really get it across the finish line.
Sink his teeth in.
He's trying to get the last achievement. The only one he doesn't have yet is where you take from every guy in the game.
Oh my God.
You have to dish out to every guy in the game. Yeah.
In one playthrough without dying.
It's called the double over under top bottom, and it's really tricky to do.
And he's done it the double over under top bottom. Congratulations, son.
Hey, Jared, did you ever play? Because you were just talking about trading card games. Did you ever play the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color?
My friend had that game, and like every like once a year he would like do another playthrough. He just loved that game. But I never understood it. I was like, I don't want to play this at all.
Trading card games on video game screens are tricky. I remember playing at a buddy's house a Yu-Gi-Oh game on PlayStation 1, maybe? I'm not sure. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that. But there was a Yu-Gi-Oh game on some console that we would now consider an antique. And it was at the height of Yu-Gi-Oh's popularity, which I did fully admit. I'll tell you, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! I had lots of cards and stuff.
Did you watch the show, dude?
Yeah, I watched the show. You kidding me? Duel, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I wasn't born yesterday. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing, I believe it was first rented from a Blockbuster for a sleepover, and then it was later bought, and it was like, that was our new thing we did. And I couldn't tell you what the rule set for any of those trading card games is, but I remember there was one time that I was like, hey, this is a cool trading card game, and it was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Video game. But I remember you were like a little guy, sort of Pokemon style, like over, top down kind of thing, and you would walk around and talk to people, and there would be text prompts, and there would be battles, and then you would get cards from the people that you beat, and you were building a deck the whole time, and you could have multiple decks, and it was pretty slick, but you gotta really care about card games to play.
Yeah.
Card game with no cards.
My friendship with that friend would end in calamitous disaster if we went to Blockbuster and he's like, "We're getting Yu-Gi-Oh!" I'd be like,
yeah.
"We're done being. I might kill you if you waste." Because back then it was like $7 to rent a game, and that was a lot of money for a kid.
Yeah, for a kid, for sure.
And it's like, we're not renting Yu-Gi-Oh! I'll kill you.
Yeah. I need Conflict Desert Storm in my veins.
Let's go, dude. Now we're talking. 4-player split screen, 15 frames per second. Just a good old time, dude.
I remember that being the first game that I had to like outflank an enemy position with a buddy.
Nice.
And it was like, oh, this is why post 9/11 all the young guys were like, I'm going to the desert and I'm killing now. Because I remember.
Thank you, Conflict Desert Storm 2.
I had just a rocking war immediately when I played. I came online as a red-blooded American man.
Oh, wow.
When I played Conflict Desert Storm, and I outflanked a tank and like, oh man.
Today on Grass Touchers, our video games military propaganda. We discussed.
Yes, and we should keep them that way. Otherwise, this whole generation is going to be bigger than they are.
Yeah. Call of Duty in 10 years. Except now, you're a person, dude. And instead of going to war, you just get on 4chan. Yeah. Oh, what? Oh, I'm the bad guy. I'm always the bad guy whenever we talk about these games. Yeah, dude.
Why don't you kids ever get outside and go fall on a cactus like me and my friends did in the desert when we were in school?
And they're like, Uncle Jared, you haven't gone out. You've been playing Dota for 3 months straight. What are you talking about? I'm like, shut up, you stupid idiot.
Your fingernails are like 4 feet long.
Yeah. I'm ancient.
He's got dreadlocks.
Yeah.
It looks like Nosferatu.
I've got dreadlocks. Dang, dude, I'm Jamaican in this story, too? I'm a Rastafarian?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, wow. Wow.
Yeah, dude. Well, that was a rollicking little romp through a couple of little genre discussions. Well done, Jared. Appreciate that, brother. Sure. And to think it all started dunking on unemployed musicologists.
Hey, man, that's where a lot of good stuff starts.
I should probably disclaim, of course, it is incredibly important that my audience understands. I literally have a bachelor's degree in music, and I absolutely understand that there is value in music to different people. Our point, however, still stands that it's not your job to appreciate every little thing from every little culture. Your culture is your culture, and it might be a blend of multiple cultures, but it doesn't mean that you're a bad person for not liking.
It's appropriation, isn't it? If you're like, dude, hand me the iPod. I'm going back to 2005. Hand me the iPod.
Hand me the aux cable. Yeah, dude.
Give me the aux cable. I'm about to turn on Straight Fire, and you turn on Screaming from Iraq. You're getting canceled by me. I'm canceling you because that's appropriation. If you're going to pretend like you like that and you are not even born there, have roots there in any way, if you're just like some guy who's just like, yeah, I actually appreciate this and love this, then it's
You're
like
lying.
you're lying and you're done, dude. You're canceled.
And if it's the year 2002, you're probably getting pulled over.
Yeah, you're certainly not getting a pilot's license, pal. You might not even be able to get on a passenger plane. I don't know.
Oh, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this week for episode 39. Can you believe it? 39? That's insane.
Check out that sunset, guys.
Look at that Arizona sunset. Is that a picture frame on your wall? That's a window, dude?
It's a window.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
It's a
Quite the
cool
view.
117 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's only 130. You can't tell from here, but it's 134 degrees out, and the sun's not even out. So, yeah, luxurious.
So
life.
wicked, dude.
Yeah, I live in Saudi Arabia.
You could survive in Saudi Arabia if you've lived in Tucson for 5 seconds.
Probably.
All right. For real, though. Thanks so much for listening. Let us know what you think. Drop a comment, drop a like, follow us on Instagram or YouTube at 3GrassTouchers. We'd love to hear from you. Love to see what you think. We will be back next week with more goodies for you. And until then, get out there and touch some grass.